Hey, Craig Dostie here with Dostie's View, and today I wanted to talk about climbing skins. It's the you got to have a couple of things if you're going to go backcountry skiing. You need a Freeheel so you can walk uphill, and then you need climbing skins so that you don't slide backwards, so you can actually move uphill. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with climbing skins, the term skin comes from the fact that the early climbing skins were the hides of animals, and in the probably the 20s and 30s, the best climbing skins tended to be seal skin. And all modern climbing skins, they use different materials, but it's the same concept. It's a bunch of fibers that lie in one direction so that when you slide in the opposite direction that the hairs lie, you will slide. And when you set your foot and you try and slide backwards, the fibers will lift up and grip the snow. But we don't use animal hides anymore. Instead, most climbing skins are made of one of three types of fiber: mohair, or mow mix, which is generally about 30 to 35% mohair, and then the remaining percentage, 65 to 60 to 70%, is nylon, or the fibers are nylon. Why would you pick one over the other? Well, you tend to want to go with mohair skins if you want really good glide, and you tend to go with nylon skins if you want really good grip. The difference is not always that dramatic, but these subtleties add up over the course of thousands of steps. Glide sounds like an antithetical characteristic to climbing skins, because the main purpose is for them to grip the snow so you don't slide backwards when you are skiing uphill. That's true, but the reality is you can learn how to grip the snow with any of these plushes, and the one thing that you can't really overcome with technique is glide. You can improve your ability to grip by improvements in your technique, how you weight your foot that you're setting, that you're holding onto the snow with. But glide is an inherent characteristic of the plush, and you need glide not because you're gliding so much when you're going uphill, but what you want to be doing is you're going to be shuffling your way up the hill. You don't want to lift your foot because that wastes energy. Just lifting your foot also, it makes the skin more likely to ice up. What you want to do is shuffle, slide your foot forward and set it. And that in the sliding, you want as little resistance as possible. So mohair is the best for that. Mow mix are not quite as good as mohair. They're a little bit better than nylon, but not always. Kind of depends upon how the plush is woven. A quality plush will have the fibers woven so they naturally lay flat. A cheaper type of plush, the fibers will be woven more vertical, and then they are ironed and pressed down. Well, they tend to want to bounce back up, and that increases grip, which is great when you're new to this, but over time, that extra grippiness has a consequence of reducing glide. And again, like I said, it's not that you're gliding uphill, but you want as little resistance as possible when you're sliding your foot forward. The other thing is when you slide your foot forward, that tends to clean off any snow that might want to cling to the fibers, which in the end will cause icing. And that's what happens when you just lift your foot. Not only are you wasting more energy lifting, your skins are more likely to ice up, and then you only have grip and no glide, which you do not want, all right? So mohair is the best gliding. Nylon is good gliding if it's high quality nylon skin, and Momix is kind of in the middle. And Momix may start out and seem like it has less glide. That's true, but after about 10 trips or maybe 20,000 vertical feet, it kind of depends upon how much you're going out, that they will break in and they will be just as slidey, slippery, resistance free as a good, well, not quite as good, but just a little notch below a mohair skin. Now, beyond the plush, the next most important thing in a climbing skin is the glue, how the skin sticks to the ski. And there's two types of glues. There's the traditional solvent-based glue, and most of the modern solvent-based glues are done with what are considered more environmentally friendly solvents. However, it's taken them about 15 years for the quality of the tackiness of the glue to be as good as the old glues back in the 90s, which used a more toxic solvent, but that glue was reliable. It always stuck well, and it always released fairly easily, and when you stuck the skins glue to glue for storage, you didn't have to be a gorilla to pull them apart. That's one of the balances that you want to look for in a traditional solvent-based glues. You want it to be sticky enough to hold, but you don't want it to be so sticky that you can't peel them apart, or you can't peel them off your ski without taking your skis off, in theory, okay? The other type of glue is a new one called a vacuum glue, and that uses more of like a rubbery substance, and the reality is when you look at it cross-sectionally, it has ridges that run the length of the skin, and that rubbery substance, when you push on it with pressure, it flattens out, and it basically, it's like having a whole bunch of suction cups on the bottom of your climbing skin. That's how it works. The beauty of that is they come off your skis much easier, and when you store them glue to glue, they come apart much easier. With solvent-based glues, they tend to be, at least out of the box, a little too sticky, and then over time they lose that adhesion, and eventually you get a really nice balance, and then after many years, sometimes after only a few years, they lose their tackiness and they need to be re-glued. The beauty of vacuum-based skins is they do lose their tackiness rather quickly, actually, but they are easily cleaned and restored to full adhesion capabilities that they had at the beginning. So what I want to do here actually is kind of demonstrate some differences in the tackiness of glues. These are my oldest currently in use pair of climbing skins, some Coltex skins, and still fairly sticky, but not so sticky that I can't peel them apart easily. I find it's easiest to put these things on, peel them apart by putting them on the ski, and then pulling kind of one foot at a time until they're on. Now these are 15 years old, all right? And they're still doing quite well. They look a little dirty, but they maintain good adhesion. So they're still in my quiver of skins that I switch amongst, because I'm constantly testing these things. These are some Black Diamond Glide Light skins. When I first got these, they were way too sticky. I had to take my skis off to peel them off my skis when I was done with the climb. They're about 5 years old now, and much more manageable. They're pulling apart very easily. Okay, so that's what time does to a solvent-based glue. And I was not all that impressed with these when I first got them. Like I said, I thought they were too sticky, but they have matured, if you will, and now they're relatively easy to come apart, and that makes them easier to manage when you store them. Here's a pair of G3 Alpinists. I think these are only 2 seasons old. When I first got these, I could peel them off my skis when I got to the top, but I had to pull really slow. They let go not very easily, and they still have pretty good tack. I think it's a fairly good balance. It's on the obviously the sticky side, but not too sticky. I like them. They are one of my regular skins that I use because I know I can rely on them when it's cold, but they are no longer so sticky that I can't rip the hide when I get to the top without taking my skis off. So I'm starting to really like them. There's, I call them medium sticky. Cola is an old brand, but they've only recently been well distributed in the United States. This pair is 1 season old. What I like about it, they call this smart glue technology. I would say it's fairly smart. I mean, it's fairly easy to pull apart, but it has really good stickiness when it's on the ski. And it comes off relatively easily. I didn't have to pull that hard for them to come off, or for them to peel apart when they were glue to glue. So I think this is actually, out of the box, the best balanced glue I've experienced in about 15 years. Comes under the brand name Cola, and they OEM them to Vocal, so you may see them actually as a Vocal skin. And then there's also Pomoka. I would call them a medium tackiness, kind of about where the G3 is right now, but they tend to have that level of tackiness right out of the box, which is really nice. It's nice and manageable, and it's easy to adapt to. I haven't taken a pair in the field for a couple of years, so we'll get to some later this year, and I'll let you know how they do in really cold weather. Now, vacuum skins. The wonderful thing about these is when you're sticking them glue to glue, they come apart super easy. And that does not engender confidence that they will hold, but they do, because they don't operate on tackiness. Again, they operate on suction. So what you've got to do is put them on and press them on. And with vacuum skins, you've got to make sure you've got solid tension between the tip and tail on the tip and tail kit. But once they're on, they will stay on, okay? They don't work as well in really cold temperatures, but in moderate to warm temperatures, they're great. And what I like about them, they just come off so easy. For some of you, you may say that's too easy. Now notice, I just threw that over my shoulder. I would never do that with a solvent-based glue, because it'd probably stick to my clothes and be a real problem to put away. But this, it's super easy. They barely hold together, but they do well enough. And I'm a big advocate of vacuum skins, but you gotta learn how to use them. It's not the same as your traditional solvent-based glues. So that's a quick look at climbing skins. Next time maybe I'll take some time and go over the various tip and tail kits. Those are really important to keep the skin on your ski. Of course, the glue is the most important part of it, but you got to have something at the tip when you're breaking trail, and something at the tail to take up some tension. And there's different types for that. All right. So quick look at skins. The other thing you got to have for going backcountry besides skins and a free heel is the free mind, right? And that's what allows you to telemark. So talk to you next time. Until then, there's snow out there. Some resorts are open, so get down on your knees and let's all spread telemark.